Hi viewers, welcome back to Docker presentation series. This is Satyadev. In the last presentation, I talked about Docker Compose, um, which is actually used for running multiple container images, multiple containers from one image, and running multiple containers from multiple images. So you want to do such operations in a environment, then this Docker Compose is used. Now in this presentation, I'm going to talk about what are the things that we have to perform in the Docker Compose, how to run the Docker Compose, right? That's pretty much, we talked about Docker Compose file and its content structure and all the stuff in the last presentation. But we haven't talked about how to make sure that this file runs, right? That's what we are going to do in this presentation. Let's get into the presentation. Now, these are all several Docker Compose commands. The first command is Docker Compose. See, this is the command docker minus hyphen compose. Now I told you that in the older version of this all these commands use just older version of Docker, the Python version. Honestly, we shouldn't be using hyphen here. Docker compose up, like that we have to give. So bear with me. Sorry, apologize for the using the older version, but this works. Basically, it uses Python version, but we want to use Go language version. Use without my hyphen, you say Docker space compose. Do that. Now, other than that, everything would be same. What is Docker Compose up? Starts a container as defined in the Docker Compose.yml file. Again, the YML file will have the hyphen. You can't omit that. So, YML file has to have the hyphen. But if you want to use the latest version of the Go language version of the Docker Compose, you also say Docker space compose. Instead of no hyphen, remove this hyphen. So then only you will get the latest version. Anyway, the file name is same in the foreground. Press Control C to stop. You want to stop it, you have to say Control C. Okay, so this is for starting up all the Docker file. That means it will just start building all the containers from the images. Whatever mentioned in the YAML file, they will be built. Right, so then Docker Compose up service name, specific service name in container in that compose file. Only that part will be run. Docker, if there are dependencies, they will also be run. Docker Compose up minus D starts container in the background mode, detached mode, which is actually preferred. Docker Compose up minus build force building of images. Yeah, don't use it regularly, but you can use it. So building itself is done first and then it will be done. Docker Compose up minus scale service number. So this is very useful. Scale a service to number of instances. So it will say minus Docker scale web 3. So in the previous example, web is field, right? So that will be run. 3 instances of Compose will be run, which we can see in the practical example. Docker Compose down stops and removes all services. Networks down, it will shut down. Again, starts existing container services which are stopped. Start service name, only particular service. Stops ending containers without removing all of them. It doesn't remove it, just there is just stopped in the stop state. Docker Compose stop service name. This is just a particular service you want to on and off, then you use this thing. So this is also this is a useful scale number is a useful thing, right? So these are the Docker Compose commands. More are there. Docker Compose restarts running services, effectively stops them first and then restarts. If you say they are not in a good state, then we can do this. Docker Compose restarts particular service, use this command. Execute command in a running service. So particular, you again like in Docker run, you can use this exec command to run in that image, which we don't need to do quite often, but yeah, this is possible. This is very useful command. Docker Compose PS lists all the containers running service defined in the current project along with their status and port mappings. So PS command. Docker Compose pulls the latest images from the service defined in the image key from the Docker hub. useful for updating base image. Yeah, I mean basically when you want to update all the images with the latest one, you can use docker pull command. Docker compose log shows logs from all services and exit. Docker compose builds and or rebuilds the images from the service that have been built configuration. So I mean it will just rebuild the image, like somewhere I think we have run build something like that, right? So same thing I think in the previous one. Where did he? Yeah, build thing, right? So similar to this. Okay. Oh sorry, build ps build, right? Docker compose config validate and use configuration useful for debugging purpose. Again, this hyphen used in these commands is not needed, but even if you use it will work because it uses the Python version of the thing. In future if it is deprecated it won't work anymore, whereas if you use without hyphen it will work in the future version also unless that is deprecated. So yeah, so I mean I think you got my point, right? So Docker compose and stuff like that. So this is how Docker compose. I think that's pretty much about Docker compose. With this I think we are pretty much done with Docker series. Thank you very much and for listening to this series. The only thing that is left pending is the practical thing. I would like to show that presentation sometime later. It's a then I think you will have more understanding of how things would work. So thank you very much.
Like, share, comment, and subscribe VNR Digital Learning Resource YouTube channel.